rides than everyone else?
We're gonna take you through all of them right now.
Right now!
You were so loud a second ago.
Right now!
Welcome to the Hollywood Tower Hotel, a drop tower attraction that drops you right into the middle of the Twilight Zone. I make my own sound effects here. If you like thrill rides, if you like all things spooky, if you like the nostalgia of the Twilight Zone, yes, I'm talking about the old series, the Twilight Zone, the episodic series where each episode drops in like a different dimension. Yeah, I'm talking about that old show. If you love the Twilight Zone, if you love any of those things, you've got to check out the Hollywood Tower Hotel, otherwise known as the Tower of Terror.
Now, what makes this attraction super cool is that it's not actually just a drop tower. I would call it a pull tower. You're actually being pulled faster than the weight that you would fall down to give you that feeling of weightlessness. That's why when you're riding Tower of Terror and you feel like you yourself rising up from the seat, it's because you're being controlled the entire time. It's not dropping you and then putting brakes at the very bottom. It's literally pulling you down quicker than you would fall and then bringing you back up. You're controlled the entire time. What an interesting ride fact. Anyway, we're not here for facts. We're here for sneaky tricks. Oh. Someone just rang a bell at me. All right, another photo op moment, and you're gonna want this one. I mean, how often are you gonna get a photo of yourself, falling faster than the weight of gravity with 21 of your closest friends? You know what I mean? Now, this one's gonna be a little bit difficult because Tower of Terror has a drop randomizer. You never know how many times you're gonna go up and down actually on the Tower of Terror because it's different every time. But there is a moment on each experience where you're gonna go up to the very top. You're gonna see out this like window. You're gonna see all of Disney's Hollywood studios, and right before you drop, that's when the picture's gonna take. Now, this next sneaky trick hardly ever happens, as Tower of Terror is a very popular attraction. But sometimes you get lucky and see the unlucky number 13 posted as the wait time. Now, this unlucky, kind of lucky for us, but unlucky in the world, but still lucky for us, you get it. The 13, it just means that it is actually a walk-on. It means that there's no wait. So if you see a number 13 posted on the standby entrance, just go ahead, walk on in, because it's no wait. That's for you. 13 means it's going to be a good time. But having a short wait time for Tower of Terror also almost never happens. So if you're looking for a quick shortcut, I can help you out with that just a little bit. After you wait in line, they're going to separate you into two different groups. You're going to go into the library. That's where you're going to see a video screen. And it's going to kind of tell you the backstory of the Twilight Zone. As soon as you enter the library, go to the furthest corner that you can. The furthest corner from where you entered from, because there's a door that will lead you to the boiler room. You're going to be the first to enter the boiler room. Because even after the pre-show room, there's a little bit of a line that you still have to wait into. But it helps being the first one in that line, so that way you can choose which way you're going to go. And there's a point where there's a little fork in the road. You can choose to go in the right lane or the left lane. I always choose to go to the left lane, because left lane here at Disney World is typically faster. I don't know why, just a weird theory we all have.
Let's talk about Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, the newest attraction here in Disney's Hollywood Studios. This is a trackless dark ride, the first ever ride to star Mickey Mouse. It takes you along with Mickey and Minnie on a perfect picnic, but things go a little off the rails, and you enter the world of a cartoon. Things get wild in Cartoon World is what I've learned from this attraction. This attraction is filled with dozens of details and Easter eggs, and each time you ride you might get different experiences, especially if you sit in different places. The biggest difference is between the very front and the very back row, because you will hit the different scenes at different times, and you're going to see different stuff appearing or disappearing as you enter each room. You can certainly request a specific seat if you'd like one from any cast member. If you do so, they may or may not be able to accommodate it, but go ahead and ask if you're looking to, if you rode in the back last time, you want to ride in the front, go ahead and ask and they may be able to accommodate it for you. Also, don't forget to look for all of the Great Movie Ride Easter eggs. This ride did replace the very famous Great Movie Ride here in Hollywood Studios. R.I.P. And if you check for Easter eggs, you might see a couple of them.
Now, Rock and Roller Coaster is a high-speed coaster attraction where you hop in a super stretched limo and you literally launch off through the city of LA to try and make it to a Aerosmith concert. This is the only roller coaster in all of Disney World that actually has a full loop. You go upside down. All right, if I'm gonna do a sneaky ride secret, I'll do it like a rock star. Yeah. Sneaky ride secret! No, I was trying to do Aerosmith. Sneaky ride secret! It just sounds like a banshee. Now, it's always tricky to try and grab the perfect on-ride photo, especially if you're on the only roller coaster that goes upside down at Walt Disney World. But here's how you're gonna do it. Luckily, they actually snap the picture right as the roller coaster takes off. So you'll hear Aerosmith count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. and then during the launch, that's when it's going to take your photo. So literally, Aerosmith is giving you a countdown for the launch, but also for the picture. So, smile, do your best rock star pose. Now for this trick, Quincy literally begged me to give this tip. For most roller coasters, it's pretty true, but definitely for this coaster. If you're sitting towards the front of the coaster, it's pretty smooth. It's definitely still thrilling, but it's definitely got a smoother vibe. Not as rocky, especially because you've got the overhead harness. But in the back, it is a full, non-stop rock and roll headbanger. That's what I'll call it. I'll call it a headbanger. Things can get pretty wild in the front, and because the overhead harness, your head can kind of go side to side, hit the harness next to you. It's not always ideal. It actually gives Quincy a headache, which she's like, please, tell people this trick. People need to know. So if you are prone to motion sickness, you get headaches a lot, you don't want your head bobbing around and hitting the overhead harness, definitely ask a cast member to sit towards the front of the coaster because it can get very turbulent in the back. Because Rock and Roller Coaster is a high-speed roller coaster, it's a thrill ride, it is often in high demand. We're talking lines like 60 minutes, 60-minute wait times. That's like an average. 45 to 60 minutes is usually what I see here for Rock and Roller Coaster. But they are one of the few attractions that have a single rider attraction. So if you're looking for a shorter wait time, try the single rider line. Be careful with the single rider line here at Rock and Roller Coaster. Oftentimes, the single rider line at Rock and Roller Coaster is either the exact same time as the standby line, or sometimes even longer. We found that out during Cry Bucket's No Sleep Challenge. Check out that video. Literally, Rock and Roller Coaster messed with the entire flow of the day. Now, technically, this is not always the case, as we can't predict how lines move. It's just not a thing. I'm not a fortune teller, but that is the current trend we've seen. The single rider line is often longer than the standby line. So, take your chances if you're up for it. If you're a gambling person, why not? The choice is yours.
All right, I'm in Toy Story Land because we're headed to a very popular ride. I'm talking about Slinky Dog Dash. Hey, Slinky. Slinky Dog Dash is an incredibly popular roller coaster. It typically has lines above an hour, often 2 hours. Right now it's at a 110-minute wait, midday on a Thursday. So you can see very, very, very popular. Now waiting for this line can be pretty awful because the queue is entirely outdoors. It is covered, but the sun often sneaks in there. So our tip for this has many uses. The tip is ride Slinky Dog Dash at night.
This is a great idea for a couple of reasons. For one, it gets you out of that really hot queue. The queue oftentimes will drop towards the end of the day at Slinky Dog Dash, so you'll still wait a while, but you might wait a little bit less. You also get to see Toy Story Land at night, which is really well lit up. The attraction has really cool light features, especially at the part where you sort of like power up and relaunch with Slinky Dog. That's a really cool part to see at night. So riding Slinky Dog Dash at night can be super, super fun for those reasons. If you do want to ride Slinky Dog Dash at night, it's great to use it as a Genie Plus attraction. It's also great to rope drop it. Now, I only recommend rope dropping Slinky Dog Dash if you have an individual lightning lane that you've purchased for Rise the Resistance, which we'll talk about in a little bit. If you do have that individual lightning lane, your rope drop ride should be Slinky Dog Dash, whether you are a resort guest or not. Rope dropping Slinky Dog Dash will let you get on and off this ride before those lines get super long, before the hottest part of the day. And if you happen to rope drop it and have Genie Plus, you might even be able to ride it twice without waiting in those super hot, super lengthy lines.
Now, Toy Story Mania invites you to ride a briskly moving, rotating carnival tram through a wacky midway to play the Toy Story characters' favorite 3D games, pausing to score points by shooting at targets with a spring action shooter.
Believe it or not, Toy Story Mania actually takes quite a lot of physical exertion. How the mechanic works, it looks like a very small cannon with a little string and a ball, and you pull the string and the ball in order to make your cannon blaster work. And there are many different rounds throughout the entire experience. So my big first tip is don't waste your energy, especially on the very first round. This attraction is actually part ride and part arcade game and takes some stamina if you're in it to win it. You want to conserve whatever energy you have for the real game. So the first round you play will actually be with pies. It's called Pie Practice. Don't waste your time and energy on this round because the points don't count. So save your shots for the other scenes. And you really want to conserve conserve your energy, especially for the final round, because on the final round, the faster you hit the targets, the higher the point value goes. If you use your entire arm to pull back on your string, you will wear yourself out super quickly. Instead, hold the string between your index and middle fingers while placing your thumb on the ball. You can then fire with an easier, like just a wrist motion. It's all the wrist, baby, that's all it is. This allows you to move faster, create a rapid fire shootout, because now I'm about to give you the biggest secrets there are. I'm gonna tell you everything you need to know about each scene. I bet how to score the highest points. You guys ready for this? On round 1 with Ham, that's the piggy bank character. In the top corner, I need you to look for the barn. First, hit the horse, chicken, and mouse that'll be running around the barn. It'll flip over. It'll cause all the points on the other animals to go up. And repeat this as many times as possible. Round 2, this is the round with Rex, the dinosaur. I need you to pop all 3 long 500-point lava balloons on the front of the volcano. At that point, a big comet's gonna appear at the top corner of each screen. You and your partner, you both need to hit your comets 3 times to unlock an explosion of 500-point balloons. Okay, moving along to round 3. That's the Green Army Men round. Now, periodically, there's gonna be 2 2,000-point plates that will be tossed up on either side of the mountain. You and your partner need to each break the plate on your side during the same toss to unlock a giant tank with high-scoring plates. Got it? All right, round 4, that's gonna be your alien guys. All right, you and your partner need to work together to put the rings on all the aliens in the center ship at the exact same time. They pop back up quickly, so you gotta move fast. Now, once you get them all, a giant robot will appear. That robot's gonna give you points by getting rings into his mouth. Now, the mouth only opens for a few seconds. Once the robot closes its mouth, you and your partner have to toss a ring over the rockets on each side of the screen to reactivate this robot. And the points in the robot's mouth will increase each time you make this happen. All right, round 5, the big Western shooting gallery. When you hit one of the main bullseyes, it will open more bullseyes. You gotta work with your partner again. You and your partner are like team members here. Work with your partner to open a bullseye and then close the same one. Each time you do this, points will go up across the entire board. And finally, the bonus round. All the mine cars, you're in the mine, this is the bonus round. Hit each mine car, but don't miss the bats that fall from the top of the screen. They'll actually make the mine cars worth more points.
If the Millennium Falcon did not give it away, we are here at Millennium Falcon Smugglers Run. This attraction is a really cool simulator attraction where you work on the Millennium Falcon to fly it as either a pilot, gunner, or engineer. It's interactive. You gain points along with the rest of your team. And I find it to be an absolute blast, especially when I'm collaborating along with people I know, but even when I'm playing along with strangers. Our first tip here is the single rider line, or, as Sage put it on the shot list, the Han solo rider line. Oh! Single rider is very helpful in this attraction, but potentially not as fun as this ride when it is a group effort. Now, when you are taking single rider on Millennium Falcon Smugglers Run, you will be split out from your party. What this often means is that you will get the engineer role, which is widely considered the least fun role on Millennium Falcon Smugglers Run. You also will be split with other parties, which means you could get stuck with a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old flying and probably not get the most points. So if that's important to you, you might want to steer clear of single rider. But it could still be fun to be a passenger while a 5-year-old crashes the Millennium Falcon. So if that sounds like your jam, single rider might be for you. It's pretty long waits on this attraction though, so single rider is definitely an asset. When in doubt, you could always go single rider, and then if you like it enough that you want to ride it with your family together, you can do the standby. It's also an option on Genie Plus. If you do find yourself in line for Millennium Falcon Smugglers Run with some folks who are wearing a silver pin, you might actually get an altered experience. That's our next tip. Keep an eye out when you're in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge for folks wearing a silver Halcyon pin. These are passengers from the Galactic Star Cruiser, and on Millennium Falcon Smugglers Run, there's actually an altered ride experience with different dialogue for them. So keep an ear out for that if you see any of those silver pins around you. If you're a diehard fan who maybe can't afford to stay on the Star Wars Hotel, you can always try to go on one of the days that the Galactic Star Cruiser people will be on Batuu. Those are the middle days. It's not their embarkation day and it's not their debarkation day. So if you look at the Galactic Star Cruiser schedule, you can plan to come to Hollywood Studios on that middle day, and you can see that altered dialogue at Millennium Falcon Smugglers Run. Does anybody know a Wookiee translator? We might need one for this next tip. That's the next tip. I think I said it right, but there's a secret mode in Millennium Falcon Smugglers Run called Chewbacca mode or Chewie mode. Typically when you ride Millennium Falcon Smugglers Run, Hondo Onaka directs you and cheers you on throughout the course of the ride, but there is a way to have Chewie, yes, Chewbacca, the Resistance General, lead you through the experience, but it has to be triggered by you. Okay, are you ready? This all has to happen before the cast member presses the green button to start the ride. Ready? Pilots, you each need to push your control to a far extreme and then hit your flashing button. Gunners, you will hold one of the white buttons next to the score screen and then hit your flashing orange button while holding that white button. Engineers, you'll hold one of your white buttons next to the score screen and then hit your flashing orange button. If you do this, you will unlock Chewbacca mode, and Chewie will be the voice you hear as you fly along on Millennium Falcon Smugglers Run. Pretty wild. Not a lot of rides in the world that have cheat codes like that. If you don't remember all that, you can ask the cast member as you load into your Millennium Falcon Smugglers Run cockpit, and they will likely be able to help you activate Chewie mode if you'd like.
Star Tours is a motion simulator ride that takes you through multiple adventures in a galaxy far, far away, aka the Shaky Box Ride. Now, there are a lot of different rides to rope drop at Hollywood Studios just because there's so many thrill rides here like Rise of the Resistance, Slinky Dog Dash, Tower of Terror, Rock and Roller Coaster. So after everyone has finished rope dropping their attractions and rushing around trying to make the best of their morning, they start to make time for the less in-demand attractions at the exact same time. Star Tours gets an insane peak in the middle of the day, and I'm talking about an insane peak. Earlier this morning, it was a 15-minute wait. Now it is 12:41, and it is a 60-minute wait. That is a huge jump. So if Star Tours is a must-do for you, check it out earlier in the day or later on in the evening. Now, Star Tours actually has a huge repeatability factor because there are actually many different adventures that can happen on Star Tours depending on when you ride. I'm talking about different planets, and different villains might catch your eye. You might be able to see scenes from the original trilogy or sequels or the occasional nod to the prequels. But do not forget, it is a motion simulator attraction. Basically, it's going to put you into this big room, a box that moves forward, up, side, down, all the way around with a screen that simulates the actual movement of flying through the galaxy. And that can definitely cause some motion sickness. Now, at Star Tours, the ride vehicle pivots from the middle. That means that the sense of motion is more intense in the front, the back, and on the far sides. So if you're worried about motion sickness on this ride, ask the cast member if you can sit in the middle of the vehicle, which will have a less intense motion.
All right, and you know we've got some tips for the most popular ride in Disney's Hollywood Studios, Rise of the Resistance. I'm looking at a 190 wait this second. Whew. My tip with Rise of the Resistance is to not miss your shot like a stormtrooper would. Rise is known to go down a lot. It's an incredibly complicated ride with a couple of different ride systems inside the ride. Any of those cannot function at any given point. Rise of the Resistance goes down very, very regularly. The tip here is to not wait until the end of the night to hop in line for Rise of the Resistance. It can be tempting because the line does drop in the end of the night if Rise stays open, but if it is your only shot, your only day in Hollywood Studios to ride Rise of the Resistance, you run the risk of Rise going down and not coming back for the rest of the evening. So if it's a must-do for you, you're going to want to prioritize it in the morning. Another tip for Rise, when one door closes, the same door opens. When you are on the transport going to the Resistance base and you get abducted by the First Order and brought on board, the next place you're going to exit is from the same door you came into a different location. It's Disney magic, I don't make the rules. So when you enter that transport, the standing room only where you see General Beck animatronic, you want to stay as close to the door as possible. When that door opens, move to the left. You're going to be entering the most picturesque room in Rise of the Resistance. Tons of stormtroopers lined up. You're standing on a Star Destroyer. It's absolutely jaw-dropping. If you move to the left, you will have more time to experience that room, more time to take photos of yourself with the stormtroopers, of the stormtroopers. So move to the left once you get out of that door. Interestingly, this ride is another one that has two different experiences depending on where you sit. The biggest difference is when you enter the AT-AT room. When you're in this room, if you are in the front car, you will see the Finn animatronic that is leaning up against the door, and you will take an elevator up and be directly facing the face of an AT-AT. That's my preferred. If you're in the back car, you will see the Finn animatronic that's laying down by some crates. You will go up with the elevator and you will be at the side of an AT-AT. Both are really, really cool and don't change your experience too much, but if you've had one, then maybe keep an eye out for when you get seated in the other car to see the other. Rise of Resistance is one where it's a lot more difficult to request which seat you'd like to be in to experience those two different experiences. If you're going to request a seat, it's going to be from the First Order cast members when you are standing in the hallways of the Star Destroyer before you go to interrogation with Kylo Ren. but they are not necessarily going to honor those requests. They're just trying to move a lot of people through this ride at a time. With so many people loving this ride, it's harder to honor seat requests on it. Our next tip is for the Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular. First tip for this one is arrive early. The show is incredibly popular. Typically every show of the day will fill up, and by the time the show starts, it will be standing room only if you can get in at all. I recommend arriving 30 minutes in advance. That's Sage. Huh, where'd he go? I like to arrive to the show 30 minutes before it starts because then you can get front row seats off to one of the side, like Sage and I did today. It was great.
So good.
Also, outdoor seating means outdoor eating. You can bring food and drink into this theater. You might think most shows you can't bring food and drink into, but at Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular, as well as Beauty and the Beast live on stage, you can eat and drink in the theater.
Yeah.
My favorite place to grab a drink before the show is right around the corner at Oasis Canteen. That direction, you can find Tune In Lounge. And if you have a little extra time, you can go over to Baseline Tap House across from Muppets Courtyard. I also recommend saving shows for the afternoon. That's when rides will be at their peak time and it'll be the hottest. So it's a great time to take a break, see an awesome show, get a little air in that indoor theater with the big fans. And just in general, a great time to enjoy live entertainment. So save entertainment for the middle of your day.
Front row seats acquired.
Front row seats.
Drinks in hand.
11:36.
Yes.
25 minutes till show.
25. That's not bad.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Are you the Marion to my Indiana Jones?
I'm the Indiana Jones to your Marion.
I was gonna say, or am I the guy who immediately dies in the temple to your Indiana Jones?
I'm Indiana Jones. You're the giant rolling boulder.
Are you Indiana Jones and I'm the German mechanic?
We're both the German mechanic. It's us on each other's shoulders in a trench coat.
And Emma is the airplane that
And
destroys
Emma's the airplane. Yeah, we figured it out.
There it is.
Is that Daisy Duck? Oh my gosh, she's fabulous. We're headed into Animation Courtyard here for a couple of more tips. If you've got a kiddo, this area is a must stop because they've got a lot of Disney Junior characters you can meet. The meet and greets don't typically have very long lines, and I've had a really great time with these different meet and greets. The real tip though is when it comes to Disney Junior Dance Party. If you've got littles in your party, you may be headed to this show. It's a very cool, very fun show. About 10 to 15 minutes long, so it won't take up too much of your day. There are no seats though, so you are going to be encouraged to sit on the floor. If you're not able to sit on the floor, there are a few benches that are available in the back of the wall, but if you want to make sure that you can get bench seating, go ahead and arrive early. And just next door we have Star Wars Launch Bay, which is a rather large exhibit space. Lots of Star Wars fun in here. And got a tip, especially if you want to meet some Star Wars characters. Star Wars Launch Bay is home to 3 very unique meet and greet experiences. Over on the left here you can meet Chewbacca. Here in this dark side looking one you can meet Darth Vader. And if you head through these doors, you can meet, typically with a very short line, BB-8, which is a very cool meet and greet. Our tip for these meet and greet experiences is that if you happen to be in line for Chewbacca or Darth Vader, look up. There are some monitors up near the ceiling that show off different Star Wars trivia, and this stuff is hard. Okay, that I know, that's Jabba the Hutt. But some of these, very tricky. You have to be like a Clone Wars fan, you've seen Rogue One to get all the Star Wars trivia up here. So it's very cool, very fun entertainment in line. Don't forget to look up.
Be still my heart, I get to be the one to talk about Fantasmic. Oh, some imagination, folks. Fantasmic is Hollywood Studios' nighttime spectacular. I believe Fantasmic is one of the best nighttime spectaculars here at Disney Studios because it incorporates every single media that we have. We're talking video projection, amazing scores, live actors, characters, firework display, stunt performers, special effects, puppetry. I mean, it's everything. Basically, Mickey has welcomed you into his dreams, but sometimes dreams, when the dark thoughts creep in, they turn into nightmares. And are you brave enough to overcome those nightmares? Well, Mickey is, with the help of us, because dreams! And because it's such a great show, this show is in super high demand. If you're looking for a smart way to check out Fantasmic and you don't feel like waiting in the often hour to 2 hour line just to get a good seat for the show, maybe grab a dining reservation. And there are a couple different places that you can do that here at Hollywood Studios. Mama Melrose, which serves Italian food. Hollywood and Vine, which is an American-style buffet. And the Brown Derby, which is kind of an upscale, old Hollywood-themed eatery. When you eat there, you'll receive a voucher with guaranteed seating for Fantasmic. And not just guaranteed seating, I'm talking about reserved seating, solid seating in the huge stadium amphitheater that they have. It'll be a reserved viewing location just for the people who have purchased these dining reservations, these dining packages. Now, for the most part, there's not really a terrible seat in the house, but we'll just call it really, really odd viewing from the far right and the far left. Now, if you choose to forego these dining packages, these dining reservations, then not to worry. There's actually snack stands inside the amphitheater. So after waiting in line, grab your seats first. Don't stop at the snack carts yet. Grab your seats because the seats are important. Then have you and your family, make sure you have enough seats for everybody, then have someone go and retrieve the snacks. Once you found your seat, then come back to the seat and eat your popcorn, eat your cotton, well, whatever you've decided to eat, this is the moment. This is the moment to do it. And heads up, this is the only nighttime spectacular at Disney World that has a splash zone. Yes, a splash zone. A lot of the show is told through a projection, and it's actually projected on these water screens. These big water screens shoot mist up through the air, and you actually project images on it. It looks like a water movie screen. It's very cool. However, if the wind is a-kicking, the mist is a-blowing. There's also a scene where Monstro the whale, spoiler alert, splashes the audience a little bit. Now, for the most part, it's not supposed to reach the audience. Again, if the wind is kicking, the mist is blowing, and Monstro is splashing the first couple rows. So, just be careful. Know that if you're sitting in the first couple rows, it could turn into a splash zone.
If you like this video, go ahead and like and subscribe.
Now go watch me take you through all the ride secrets at Disney's Animal Kingdom.
We'll see you.
See you there.